Okay, so welcome to episode 4. Let's just recap on what we covered so far. So in episode 1, we kind of looked at what drift was, the cycle of chaos versus the cycle of structure, routine and systems. Then we went on to episode 2 where we learned about the real consequences of drift, like how does it affect your life. And in the last series, which was episode 3, we looked at how evolving our standards and our belief systems were the start of us starting a new journey, going on a mission, moving forward, right? And how we evolved with that identity piece being a real key part. Now, what we're going to cover in here is the execution, because the evolving of the standards without the execution, without a system in place, just means we keep going round on a hamster wheel. We keep going round in the same cycle of feeling super spontaneous, sporadic, that we're going to change our lives, but we never actually do. And that means that our business stays plateau, so does our relationships, and so does our health. So I'm going to take you through this process right now and show you how the execution phase, so you can visually see it, is so important. So there is a huge gap between two key words, and these two words take us down completely two different roads when it comes to executing in terms of how we operate, how we're moving forwards, all of the things that we're doing, right? All the sexy stuff. One is intention and the other one is action. So when we look at these, what do you think of when you think of intention? Is like my intention to lose 4 stone. It's my intention to buy a Ferrari. It's my intention to be the best father possible. So we think of something, we go, it's my intent. This is what I want. This is what I want to achieve. You know, I've got intent in terms of achieving that. And then there is the action phase where we would turn that around and go, I am a great father. I am performing and operating as a great father. I do have a Ferrari. I do have a 7-figure business, and that is led to action. So there is a statement. It's not like I intend to be a 7-figure business. I am a 7-figure business. And that's the action, right? That is the difference. One is hype, where we talk up a really good game. This is what I'm going to achieve. Okay. And the other one is intentional, because you've done it. Okay. It's intentional. It's gone from intent to intentional. Okay. So this is intentional action that's getting me there. So there are 2 key parts of this that really make this work. So no basics, no foundations. So a really good time for this is a couple of times of the year, January, September, when schools go back, when Christmas is finished. We all have intention of going, this is going to be the greatest year of my life. Or when we get to September, it's my intent to get back to routine. So it's just spontaneous. There is no foundational thought to that. It's just your intentions. Whereas with the other one, the action, the intentional action, comes off the back of the evolve phase. Because what we have done is gone through a sequence of foundational actions that get us to a certain point. So if you remember, in evolve, it's about evolving your standards, it's evolving your identity, it's evolving your belief system. So we're not just waking up one day and going, I'm going to lose 4 stone. We're going to wake up one day and go, okay, what do I need? What needs to happen? Who do I need to evolve to change to be this person? How do I get off the hamster wheel? How do I stop the cycle of chaos? There is some groundwork. It's not emotional, it's not impulsive. So we go through this evolve, and then we start taking bigger action. Then we start executing the systems to prolong it, right? So I'm going to give you 2 different examples. We're going to use running as an example, okay? So if we look at the top here, it's my intention to run a half marathon. If we go straight into that and just no plan, I just feel like I'm going to wake up, stick my trainers off, and I just went running, right? And then I might not run again for another week. So what has happened is that motivation has dipped. You know, my feelings or my excitement has dropped. So now there are no core foundations or systems for me to abide by. But then if we look here, then we go, right, I want to evolve. I want to be a runner. I want to achieve a half marathon. I want to do it for charity, but I actually want to be running as part of my life. I don't just want to do it for this event. I want it to be a part of my DNA. I want it to be a part of my character. I want it to be part of my life journey. Because when I run, I feel free. I can get away from things. I can really connect with things. And what we're doing is building an identity. We're evolving identity from just going, I just want to go for a run, to a meaning behind the run. There is something there. It becomes part of your life. And you start to evolve your standards in terms of, right, 4 times a week, I need to fit in time to run. Then we go, right, I need to evolve my identity. I am a runner. This is what I do. I don't look at this as a separate part of my life. So when we talk about Mission 365, our system, what I say to the guys, it's not the system and your life. The system becomes your life. And that's what we're trying to do with people that we work with over a year or longer. A lot of our guys have been with us 4 or 5 years, because what we're trying to do is evolve, amalgamate the two together. So it's not running and you, it's running is you. Does that make sense? We're evolving that identity. And that's the difference between somebody that is taking huge action and someone that is just constantly having the attention. So if we come across here, this is the really important part, because this is the strategy, this is the systems. The strategy is the execution systems. So if we look here, the intention, it's very much chaotic. If you think about episode 1, the cycle of chaos, we just keep going round and round in circles, right? And there could be good days when we feel like running, and on the bad days, we might not go running. So we don't know what we're gonna get. So if we look here, motivational dies, feelings are unreliable, and the other one that I've forgotten to written on there is we become overwhelmed with life. When life grips us and rips us back, there are no systems for us to keep showing up here, because we are just basing everything on motivation and impulse and intention. Whereas we look at strategy, and I just look at 3 key strategies that I teach my guys in the Mission 365 system. We've got kill zones. So this is where we plan out our day into time blocks. So there is times for morning routine, times for family, times for work, time for transition, time for health. It's all constructed in a fashion that allows you to show up and achieve. So this becomes bread and butter. Non-negotiables, remember from the evolve, non-negotiables. We have AM and PM routines. So they build you, they do all of the groundwork to self-lead you up. Okay? Sets the standards. Then we have weekly audits, check-ins, where we constantly keep showing up, and we do the tick in the box, say, yep, I'm up, I'm ready. At the end of the day, we do the review. Yep, it was a great day, this is what I learned. Then weekly audits on our last week, and then weekly plans for the forward, and then the Wednesday check-in. So these are bringing you always back to the identity that you're trying to evolve into, all right? And then the last one here is the focus group that I do every Wednesday to coach people. I teach them something. That gives them some nuggets to continuously learn, brings the community together, and we kind of all move forwards in that continued development. So this is what we fall back on. So this is why the execution phase is so important. So this is, in theory, what we do in the Mission 365. We evolve the lads through to a place where they then want to go on to intentional action for a year, 2 years, 3 years, where we build the strategy, the execution systems, and then the systems become discipline on autopilot. Everything just becomes normal, it's autopilot. Might have 1 or 2 bad days, but here we're gonna have only 1 or 2 good days. And there is no, if you notice this top one, there's just no depth to that process. So I'll give you an example or a case study of where this worked, and you can go back and listen to this at the very end. So there's a guy called Johnny, very, very successful entrepreneur. He had, when he joined us, she was actually 7.5, she's like 9 now. And he came in and 80% of his world was work, business, trying to get the systems running, trying to build the 7-figure business, all of that, yada, 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 okay? So there was no evolution of his identity, no non-negotiables, no standards, no belief shifts. It was up here. So when I first met him, his belief system was purely about, I've got to get this business going. There has to be sacrifice. And actually over a 6-month period, we shifted his values. We evolved him and his values and what he stood for and what he wanted to base his life around. And the interview that we have on the channel here under playlists, if you go to customer case studies, you'll see Johnny's completely shifted. He even got emotional in it because he suddenly realized what was important, and that was his daughter. He suddenly went from basing his life around his business to his business then being based around his life, and his life was his daughter. He wanted those memories, he wanted that connection. So through this process here, we shifted Johnny's identity. And he was no longer drifting. He was still being successful with work. And then this led into the execution frameworks here for action. So we changed things, we shifted things. And that is where the execution phase comes in. And as you evolve through this journey, and this is like a lot of the lads on the Mission 365, the things that they want change. A lot of the lads used to be like work-driven, sales directors, CEOs, business owners, whatever. That used to be their world, and now it's not. Now they go in and they do the job at the very highest standards, but it doesn't kill them. They don't drift into overwhelm or stress. And there's always the days when we have the bad days where there's a leak, but all of the systems that we have in execution bring us back, and it brings us back quicker over and over and over again. And it's this process that we drill over and over and over again until your identity realizes who the man is that you're becoming, who the character is, what you stand for, what your boundaries are. And you start to see yourself different, and everybody else starts to see yourself different, and you leave people behind. You leave people behind that want to stay average, that want to go drinking at the weekends, that want to do drugs, that want to work 90% of their lives. And you'll start to then see other people and the way that they execute being more like this, because you're on a different level, you're on a different playing field. So the next phase of this is the embody phase, where this doesn't just become a process, it literally becomes you. Your DNA, your blood. This is who you become, not just what you do. And that is the rewiring of the mindset and the identity shift and the transition that you go on to becoming this person. And that is an exciting journey because it brings more control, more fulfillment, more understanding, more memories, and getting the balance absolutely right. Now you can watch episode 5 by clicking right here, and you can also right here see Johnny's case study that I was talking about and watch how he evolved and how he's executing different and how he's now embodying the new version of himself.